Good day, race fans, and welcome to the Intentional Rec Podcast. The international program has taken over. All right, your
Right, does
regional.
that make you
I
international
I
right
I
now
I
as
I,
well,
I am
Mr.
I am
Worldwide?
technically Mr. Worldwide. I am technically a German. I don't think legally I can say that for my clearance. I have no allegiances to Germany. Please let me keep my job. The international
Green flag,
program.
green flag.
Yes, yeah. I sneezed and nobody said anything to me. And I looked at my buddy Paul and I said,
Gesundheit?
"Isn't Gesundheit German? What the fuck is that?" And that was my own personal gripes I had with the European crowd. Um,
Oh dear.
Man, what were we just talking about? You talking about beard color? We're talking about beards here. We get everybody with our cameras. I have to fix my new camera setup so the camera's a little bit more higher. I guess I don't have anything to set
I
it
just
on.
put my phone
Yeah, I don't have
on the
any.
desk.
I guess I can set it like here a little bit higher. You said your beard has three colors, Tilly?
Yes, there are some ginger
Oh,
hairs,
you're ginger.
like
See, I got like a
great grandmother
brown,
was a ginger.
but I got some
This
bleaching
is ginger.
here, and the real ones know what the bleaching is caused by. Let you Google that one, adults. Uh,
This took a turn really fast.
when there's no Jeff around to keep me in line. All right. So I think I technically count because I watched this race in Germany time, which I don't know how you do it, brother. Way too late. Way
Wait,
too
what time
late.
did it start for? What time did it start for you?
I mean,
It's only 8 p.m. start for you.
but it
What
rained and
time?
it wasn't done till like midnight. I don't be watching a New Hampshire race at like midnight. It was nighttime when the race ended. Pretty sure. But
Almost.
even
They
then,
don't have lights, so
true, true. But so all right, so let's hop into it, man. New Hampshire, second to last race in the chase, 750 horsepower package. We come out and the first thing we get is adverse conditions. And as the regional SVG fans of the community, that my question to you, is it more impressive than anything he's done on road in Cup?
um, it's I would say it's alongside it because we expected him to like everyone's expected him to be dominant on
Mm-hmm.
road, but the thing is we've had in inverted commas road ringers in the past,
Right.
and they haven't been to the level of dominance that he has had,
Yeah.
right? So that aside, him having should have probably have won stage one had it not been for NASCAR's incompetence of rules,
Mm-hmm.
having a correct rule set. Um, Aside from that, I think this was very impressive because what we saw from him this week was this innate ability to keep the tires cool.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the guys, when either they were looking for that dry line, that high line, but it was they were not able to actually keep the tires cool enough, so therefore they were just falling away off the pace, or they're just not confident enough to be able to get onto the throttle. We did see guys spinning in this race.
Right.
We saw guys spinning before the race even started.
Yeah. Carson certainly going for a loop. It. Do you think that's more? I mean, remember what happened at the Indy 500? Not this year, but last year, where the guy like literally totaled the car under those conditions. He just lost control while they were doing the swerving or whatever. So I guess that's not the most embarrassing thing I've seen, but it's just so funny because he does
It's
it in front
Carson.
of the field and it's him of all people, and he just has to sit there while they all go by him at like 60 miles an hour, and you just
Did
have
you
to sit there. And you just know he's
did you
sitting in the
see?
car going, "I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot."
Or was it deliberate?
Oh yeah, a little get in their heads. A
No,
little.
get in the head. No, get in the heads of the chiefs at NASCAR, so then they had to come down pit road again, and let's not actually do this rain start.
Nah, I don't think they were gonna start it. They definitely been pacing around for a little bit. I don't think that was deliberate. For that
It's a
purpose.
question, not a statement. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So back to the SVG thing. So I'm trying to like verbalize it, right? He's not the best. I mean, I, when I see things like that, that makes me go like, and it isn't just because. I mean, we have a scenario. He is by far the best road course racer in NASCAR history, so he's ahead there.
Without a doubt.
In terms of a super speedway racer, I mean, he's decent. He's decent, right? He has to learn, but there isn't really any like I'm not out here ranking the top 5 plate racers. You know what I mean? It's really just the engine you have in the car and whether or not you can avoid trouble, right? So I don't really grade anybody. Mile and a halfs. Obviously, there's a weak point there. I think a big part of that is Trackhouse as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Is the equipment. In scenarios where there has been opportunities to be quick and he does get a fast car, it's kind of there, but that's probably the learning and his weakest set. But then you go to short track racing and like it's really getting to the point where like I'm ready to say he's well in the top 10 in terms of pure short track talents. Now, when I say that, that doesn't mean every time there's a short track, I'm expecting him to run 10th. We have to remember equipment, right? But let's take a look at like Josh Berry and the run he's been on since Penske's picked their stuff up and we've gone to short tracks. Josh Berry is a short track guy. Ryan Preece is a short track guy. I'm getting to the point where it's like, hey, when the short tracks come in, we saw what SVG did at North Wilkesboro, right? And almost won that stage there. Just got caught by Ty Gibbs with insanely inferior equipment, right? So there's that. But then something like this. Now, if he would have just taken the lead from them, right? But we go green. He's getting that low lane working. We saw him almost lose it, saved it. Insane car control, and then he kind of let Byron and Bell go, and then it was like, okay, well, he's a lot faster than Bell, and he walks Bell down. Okay, cool. And then he walks Byron down. Cool. And if it was just that, I think insanely impressive. But to get an 8-second lead and to be genuinely almost a second faster than the field in clean air is I have never seen that. And I get that the rain is why.
Mind-boggling.
But like
how fast.
Because we got to see all these cars in great conditions, right? And where was that car? That was what, a 15th place car? Right? When he was running, it wasn't a fast car.
It really struggled.
It really struggled.
And from what I heard from the rumors, I think the talk from the crew chief, he was like, I don't know. Like the crew chief was completely dumbfounded as to why they were just butt slow on the conditions.
So we take that same exact car, put rain tires on it, and all of a sudden, he's 7 seconds ahead. Now, do I think SVG got ruined out of a win? No. I do think he got cheated out of a stage.
Stage win.
And that's obviously been the big thing, right? Which is, that's been the big thing across every media or podcast here. And I think the big mistake there is just, I don't hate, for example, NASCAR, it's all about optics and it's all about what you're doing. For example, when they were going to throw the caution, remember what happened to Ross Chastain? He's like smoking it up. He has a tire going down, right? Maybe some shrapnel or stuff comes off the car, tire comes off the car, and then it's like...
It looked like he was just burning out, effectively.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with him, but like if you throw a caution for that, that's okay, right? Because we're talking about adverse conditions, cars starting to break down, who knows? But when you say out loud, like, hey, we're going to do a competition caution, and granted, they didn't say they were going to do it at the start of the race, right? They just made this up in the middle of the racing. And that's I hate that. This idea is like, oh, in the middle. No. If you're going to start a race on rain tires, then you need to say like, hey.
I think that from what I saw from the coverage, they did mention that NASCAR will determine when everyone comes in and it will be a non-competitive stuff. So basically, they're predetermined that it was going to be a competition caution.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the first layer. The second layer is, right, what are we doing, right? We see it at road courses where we allow these guys to go to, and I get that. Now, I will say this, there is a little bit of a difference of like, there's an adjustment to the setup that needs to be made. It's not as simple as tire on, tire off, right? But like, I think at
But
that
that's
point,
racing.
like that's the point. That's the point. Like, are you willing to go do that right now under green flag conditions? Or are we ready to run these tires for 70 laps? There wasn't really any indication that guys weren't able to run 70 laps on those tires. And
Because
then
what SVG was having to do from a technical perspective was, so
right.
there was a clear kind of like line. I think it was like 3-4 lanes high. That was the dry line.
Mm-hmm.
So what he was doing a couple laps where he was dipping the outside tires. So he was staying below that line, dipping the outside tires,
Mm-hmm.
on effectively in water to
Yeah.
cool that down, and then
Right.
he was doing the opposite,
Right.
where he was
Right.
going above the line and
Right.
putting.
So the moment things start getting weird, SVG like shoots to the top, and that's what I think is like crazy. To me, and that was just super impressive. So I know he didn't get the points, and we're going to be going into Daytona where he really needs to have a decent finish.
I think it cost him probably 7 points in that race,
Yeah, yeah,
and those 7 points could be key for the playoffs,
yeah,
for the chase.
yeah. Ended up 20th on the day. It would have been really cool, but I do think one of the most impressive drives. There have been a lot of impressive drives on the season. Um, and that was a good one. For sure. Definitely kind of stole the first half of that race. Now after that, right? He kind of fades off to the back. Not much going on, and it's really like a battle of like just Bell and Blaney. Barry was getting up there. Um, it's pretty solid race. How did you feel across the board on that race? Did it feel pretty racy? Did it feel like guys could pass?
It felt like guys. It did seem like the guys at the front, like the first few, were able to just like clean air was really important.
Mm-hmm.
It did seem like they disappeared off, and then they maintained a gap to the rest of the guys. But between them,
Yeah.
they were able to race.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So like I think back to the first run of Barry Blaney, right? And Blaney ran Barry all the way down and got right on his bumper and just nothing. Blaney had nothing. Barry was able to kind of reestablish the second lead. So it definitely feels like the to be the leader in this race, you're really only getting caught if you get stuck behind lap traffic in a bad way. Later, I can't remember if it was green flag stops that they came out on or if it was just. But I know Barry came out in front of Blaney, but Blaney was able to pass and clear him. And of course, Blaney kind of the fastest car all weekend, so I'm not really too mad at that. That
He
win
seemed
by
like the
him.
most deserving person to win the race, but
Yeah, I mean, so like I always say, the most deserving car. Like he was one of the fastest cars. He was up front. He was really fast all weekend. It's one of those like it's hard to gauge all of that because there's a story of different races, right? Like if that race stayed wet the whole time, Blaney really had nothing for the 97, assuming a wreck.
mm-hmm.
Bell really was quick for a good chunk of that race. I'm trying to find, who really led a ton of laps. I mean, Blaney led the most. Actually, Bell didn't lead a single lap that race. I know Bubba led some. Barry. So, look, I mean, all those guys were quick. Willie B got himself spun out, and he was another guy that led quite a few laps. So, yeah, I'm good with saying, the deserving winner won that race. Blaney certainly has been fairly quick lately. This is obviously the type of tracks that Penske's at. You asked a question today. What did you ask? If SVG left, where would he go? Right? Because
so this is 2028.
Yeah. So like, we got there was
roughly.
there was a big announcement that's supposed to happen today, and apparently it's some short track guy that Junior likes is coming up and running no wraps. So no Josh Berry news, right? Austin Hills re-signed to the 33. So let's talk about that. Like Josh Berry, where's the logical ride to go next year, right?
What's left?
Right. So he could go down back to Xfinity. And then I think there's an opportunity to fill the charter that Connor Zilic is leaving. You know what I mean? Like if you're a Dodge team, right? So let's say in theory Trackhouse goes to Dodge. One of my biggest fears, if you're a Ross Chastain or SVG, we don't have time to wait around. You know what I mean? These are proven
Mm-hmm.
winners in the sport, right? SVG carries a lot of sponsorship and hype. That's another thing too. A lot of SVG brings his own money to the table, right? Ross
Red Bull money.
Chastain is extremely profitable on that side as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they can go somewhere and help fund their own rides, right? They're not at the mercy of like how Josh Berry is, and I don't think they're gonna sit. I wouldn't want to wait around. Like I said it before on the last pod. Like
But
if I'm
Connor's at Trackhouse next year.
yeah, I'm
So
talking about
we're
right, right,
talking.
right. I'm talking Josh would consider like going down and running Xfinity with hopes to come up and run. Maybe he runs
Mm-hmm.
like a part-time car for Trackhouse and then goes up and runs in that 88 charter, which would be very interesting considering he's a junior guy and that was Dale Jr.'s number was the 88 for his last stint at Hendrick Motorsports. So would be interesting, but if you go to Dodge, right? Let's say 2028, you go to Dodge as Trackhouse and go be the lead Dodge team. Barry's a guy that can come in who, is willing to just ride around a cup ride. If you give him a decent car at short tracks, he's probably going to overperform it. He's really just kind of changed the way everybody looks at him over the last couple of weeks in like such a drastic way. And going off of his last couple finishes here, right? I don't know if you've peeped them, but he's gone
He's been good.
7th, 4th, 8th, and 3rd. Now 3 of those 4 at short tracks, and then he had a good day at Indy, right? So it's fairly obvious that he's got some. Obviously, all the Penske guys are kind of coming on late, so it's obviously a bit of that. But
Like the Fords have started to get
right.
good.
But when I ask myself like when we give a guy a good car, right? And what am I expecting you to do with it if you're a good driver, right? There's a difference between, oh, Josh Berry, you just finished 10th. Like, we're not going to talk about you finishing 10th because, you had you're in a Penske car. You should be finishing 10th, right? Like Riley Herbst. Like, anytime Riley Herbst finishes in the top 10, everyone's like, good day by Riley. Dude, you're in a freaking insane ride. You know what I mean? You should be all the way up there. When you get a car like what Josh Berry got, he's up there finishing 3rd and leading 70 laps in a race. That's what you're supposed to do with those kind of rides. So that's what I would see if Josh Berry. I don't think he's a Legacy Motor Club kind of guy. They're going to be getting a charter. I don't know if you know, but Ryan Preece's charter right now for RFK is rented to them by Rick Ware Racing. That is Cody Ware. So they technically have 2 charters. They are renting one to RFK. That charter is going to Legacy Motor Club next year.
Oh, so that rental,
right?
But it's a Legacy at TU.
Yes, the charters they're not really OEM based, right? It's all about how. So they got that from Rick Ware Racing. So now Preece's charter. Preece doesn't have a charter. However, RFK I think has been pretty adamant that Preece is going to go full-time racing next year, whether they have to fund it or not, right? Where they're going to get a charter from, who knows? Then but yeah, in terms of Barry next year, Gragson got extended. Zane Smith ain't going nowhere. Todd Gilliland ain't going nowhere. So Front Row Motorsports not an option. Cole Custer's not going anywhere. So the Haas factory team not an option. RFK's only got the 3 cars, and as long as Brad Keselowski is crazy. Brad Keselowski is there. That team is pretty much set in stone. Legacy Motor Club is the only unannounced opening since Jesse Love is coming to the 21. But I think right now is a scenario where I'm really shooting my foot if I'm the Wood Brothers, because I'm like, damn, now he's racing well. You know what I mean? Like, this is exactly what we wanted from Josh Berry. If this happened 5 races ago, I don't think they give up on him as quick. I don't think we see Jesse Love getting signed. I don't think we. So it's very interesting in the timing of it all, right? But then again, I think that's the move, right? Is you wait till 2028. You wait for these teams. A Denny spot's going to open up. There's a Ross Chastain who's going to go find an opening. There's going to be
So from what I heard, Denny has already had outlined that he's keeping his seat warm for one of the youngsters coming up.
Brent Cruz. However, a lot of things can change in 2 years, Dilly. You know what I mean?
That's the thing.
A lot of things can change.
So these are like,
yeah.
So it's gonna be really interesting because if you look at if Trackhouse don't like. If I look at it back from the SP, from the original question that I posed you, SPG's perspective, Trackhouse have been decent, but they've they're not they're not quite good enough right yet at the
Right.
moment. And whether or not that is due to the engines, because of who their engines are, because they don't have.
Well, it's the body,
Their
right?
engines
They're struggling with the Chevy body,
Chevy.
just like everybody else has, right? But I mean, outside of SVG, not a single one is close to the points, right? Like Ross himself is pretty much, I think, mathematically eliminated. Connor obviously having a rough
Oh
day,
yeah, they're the miles of it. Yeah.
right? But let's also think about it. Hocevar was fifth in points at one point. He's 11th. Suarez has certainly fallen off and hasn't really been up front as much. Um, in fact, the only two Chevys in the top 10 are Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott, and I don't think anybody thinks they're winning a race anytime soon, right? So it's fairly obvious that Chevy's in a rough spot, and so I don't want to blame them too much, but even again, they weren't exactly ahead of the curve to begin with. I think a 2020. If I'm Barry, I'm trying to do everything I can to stay relevant in the news. How do I do that? Go win races in Xfinity.
Okay, close to.
Go win races in Xfinity. Go be competitive. Get close with Justin Marks and be like, hey, man, you need somebody to drive your car because one of Shane and Ross is leaving, if not both. Now, the only thing that would stop them from leaving is there's no other chartered rides. But I know they say Brent Cruz, and I get it. But, bro, you're telling me if we can't put Ross Chastain in the 11 and continue to make that a super team?
What would be interesting if the old heads in the league, right? So we expect, let's say Denny wins it this year. Denny could retire at the end of this season for all you know. He could win it and say, I'm done.
Yeah. But Barry's not getting the 11. You know what I mean? So,
no,
but Cruz is not ready, right? So I think the idea is that he's going to do one more. So it's super interesting, but like, it really throws everybody for a loop because I really think a perfect world sees Zilich just go to the 48 now. Well, not now, but after this season, and then then that charter opens up. But like with that charter not opening up for a year, it's certainly this lame duck, the lame duck that is Alex Bowman. Yeah, so that's a weird one, super weird one. But I don't know where it ends up. I don't know where I want to see Shane. Shane's not going to get a JGR ride. Shane wouldn't go to a Legacy ride. He's not going to get a Hendrick ride. So, I mean, his best bet might be to stick it out with Turco.
Hendrick's locked up now, pretty much, isn't it? All the rides are pretty much just locked up.
Yeah.
Because the only person who's got a renewal coming up is Chase Elliott, and they're not just going to.
Yeah, Chase Elliott's not going anywhere, but man, they're in a rough spot. But I'm curious. I'm curious to see. I wonder if somebody like I'm very curious if Jimmy will make a move like that, right? Just jump out there and just go make a move and bring in a veteran and bring in a guy that you know that can win races. Like imagine a Legacy Motor Club winning 4 races a year because Shane's there. 3 to 4 wins. That's big time money being brought in, big time sponsorship. You're coming to Toyota. Like right now, Eric Jones, I would rather be in the 43 than any like Hendrick car right now on a 1.5 mile tracks. Like it really seems like the 43 is a very quick race car weekend. Now the race team and putting together a full weekend, that's a different discussion. But go look at practice sessions. Go look at practice splits and stuff.
Do you think they could turn the corner though in the off season?
So the big thing that I heard about Legacy Motor Club was this: when they first moved over to Toyota, Jimmy didn't have any data. Right? Didn't have any agreements with anybody for data. It was just like, we're just rocking. We're Toyota now. We don't have collaborations with 23 and Gibbs, right? And then they started building up their base and they started to improve a little bit. And we saw that late last year at like the 600 and the Darlington race in the fall where they were starting to improve a bit with some speed. or maybe that was the last. I can't remember exactly, but they said that then the next year they ended up getting data from Gibbs, but it was a little off from what their systems were, and it like reset everything. So they took a huge step back because it like the data they were getting from Gibbs wasn't really aligning with the systems that they had in place, and it was causing issues and a drop in performance. But I think this year we've seen like such a stark increase in those cars at certain types of tracks. And it certainly helps out there's not like a lot of Chevys taking up a lot of positions between them and where they are. So it's a lot to lean into it. That 43 has certainly been quick at spurts. And I think that, I think that's the benefit of for example, if you, let's say Legacy and Trackhouse are considered equal teams. Okay. They're not, but they're not because, Shane gets a bunch of wins, but in terms of performance, right? Tier levels, right? If you're SVG, would you rather stick with the risk of Trackhouse to Dodge and hope that Dodge has things worked out, or do you hop on with a Toyota team?
Going to somebody.
Chat, what would you do? You're SVG. You're 30-something years old. You know you're good for 3 wins a year, 2 to 3 wins a year. Would you rather be in a Legacy Motor Club Toyota? I'll give you 3 options: a Legacy Motor Club Toyota, a Trackhouse Dodge, or the 77 car. What would you rather be in?
The expectations. So we're assuming that Trackhouse are going to Dodge in this scenario, because it's a rumor at the moment, and the other rumor is potentially Corlick going across to Dodge.
Yeah, there is that, but I think I think if you're Dodge, you want to make a bigger splash, and if you're Trackhouse, you're looking for some kind of OEM sponsorship, right? Like you're not getting it from Chevy.
Oh, they're getting like
the
worst kind of equipment.
Hey, let's do this. Let's do this, Dilly. Let's get SVG in the 3 car. That'll piss off some Americans. Put a non-American in Dale's number, in Dale Earnhardt's number. That would piss some people off.
I do not see that ever.
What do you think the best realistic ride that SVG could end up in? Like I have one in mind. I do, and not only do I think he'd win an oval, I think he'd win multiple ovals. It would be a match made in heaven.
Kill the suspense.
No, I'm gonna. All right. So, what are SVG's 2 best types of tracks?
Short tracks.
Short and banked, or short and flat?
So he's very good at Martinsville,
New Hampshire, North Wilkesboro.
They're quite flat.
Quite flat. Yeah, quite flat. Who's the best in the business at flat short tracks? They're a Ford team.
You're speaking to a Ford team.
Penske.
From what the discussion was that Penske,
the 2 car,
Cindrix.
I could see a scenario. Now, granted, Austin is in the ride quite a bit because Tim Cindric has a big history in Penske. But I could absolutely see a scenario where Austin is underperforming.
Austin's only 27 as well. So.
Right. I mean, he's barely ahead of him in points. And, it's hard to kick a guy like Cindric out, but like a year and some change from now, I would love to see a scenario like Shane in the 2. Like, they line up on their best tracks. Shane's going to win the road courses for that Ford program, and then he's going to turn around and compete with Ryan and those guys at the short tracks. I think he ends up winning one. That's kind of...
Like, say, for example, so you look at Cindric, he has only won on a super speedway.
Yeah.
In Penske gear.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Right. Well, Penske or Cindric won an Iowa race, I believe. And if he didn't win it, he was gonna win it. And I think something like crazy happened and it screwed him over. So, but
he won a World Wide Championship Gateway.
That's what it was. It was a short track.
2024. Okay.
Right. So but you're absolutely right. And not only that, Cindric was actually really, really known for his road course racing in the Xfinity series, right? Um, and he really just has like that skill. It's just completely gone away now that he's in Cup. So, we've done a lot of SVG glaze and thought process here on SVG, but I think the point is when you have a guy like Barry and then you have a guy like Priest who's competing well, not even going to be on a chartered ride. This season has really put into perspective a lot of different things, right? Because, Daniel Suarez is going to make the chase on speed, not a win, not a lucky chase win, but going out
No,
there,
he's
only having one
gonna be
DNF,
really good.
having a good amount of top tens, great. Yes, the Toyota group, right? They've currently hold 5 of the top 4 spots, right? So we know who the big dogs are right now.
Okay, I've got one question.
Okay.
Are you concerned about a certain man who won lots of races towards the start of this season, and he had himself a lovely old spin in this race as well?
I I am, but here's why. Well, here's
Gosh.
why. I am, and here's why. Tyler Reddick is a very streaky driver. So I think back to last year when he didn't have a win. You know what I mean? Now, honestly, he was dealing with a lot. Tyler Reddick was dealing with his child was born and in the NICU for a long time, had some big issues. And if you're a parent, like that's a very stressful time. And then to try to go out there and perform week to week and then not letting good days stack on good days, that's bad, right? And then he came out here and then he wins and then he keeps winning, super momentum based. And now he's in the dumps and things keep happening. They actually came
So
out and announced that he had, diagnosed with like some sleep apnea thing. And I don't know if that was just part. So he got diagnosed with sleep apnea. Tyler Reddick did. And then I guess he also has a sleep apnea related or sleep type sponsor that's going to be coming out. I don't know if that's Daytona or not.
so I'm just gonna read out his race results
Right.
since Pocono. So Pocono was probably his last very good performance where he came second. Coronado Sonoma 25th, 36th. Chicagoland 36th, Atlanta 8th, Wilkesboro 30th, Indy 10th, Iowa 36th, Richmond 11th, New Hampshire 8th,
Right.
including the spin.
Right. And he's driving the fastest car in the field. Like to go 25th, 36th, 36th, 30, 36th in that last 10-ish race span, there's no excuse. And I'll be honest with you, if he didn't have the first half of the season he had, if this is all we had to look at, if you screenshotted this, just everything from Coronado or hell Michigan and down, and you said, "Hey, Tyler Reddick's driving the second fastest car in the field. This is where we're at." People would think, "Oh shit, last year got worse, didn't it?" You know what I mean? And this isn't a small bubble. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, almost half the season. Now, granted, yes, the first half of the season on fire. Right? Ridiculous stats. But it is absolutely a tale of two seasons. It looks like chat disconnected got reconnected. Hopefully we didn't miss too much. But no, that's definitely where I think I am worried. I am worried because it's just there hasn't been much pretty. Just qualifying first at New Hampshire isn't enough for me to go, "Oh, yep, he's good." He's not slumping. Right? He's not like incapable of driving fast. But I think Reddick as a person is not quite at the part of his career where he mentally resets from week to week. Like a Denny. Like if Denny had a bad streak, not worried. But Denny doesn't have bad streaks because he's Denny Hamlin. Ryan Blaney doesn't have these bad streaks. Hell, Ryan Blaney had his bad streak last year and recovered.
So this is probably why I think Denny's probably going to take it. If you look at Denny last year, right? Okay, it was a winning in system, slightly different. But you look at to this point of the racing season right now. This time last year it was Richmond week, and he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 races where he finished 20th or worse.
Right? Yeah.
And a few in the 30s. This year, 2 races.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
and
I can't say like right now.
just don't see anyone.
Yeah. Well, when I look at the schedule, right, how are we going to start the chase? Because that's going to be the hugest thing, right? Like
Oh,
going to Darlington is going to be so interesting because who is the fastest car by far at Darlington? I mean, it was Reddick, right? Reddick was so much faster than everybody last time we went to Darlington. But also Briscoe has been racing extremely well. He's like really good at Darlington as well. Really excited about that race just for that reason. I might need to go to that race, brother. Then we're going to go to Worldwide Technology, which, hey, we're going to be talking Ryan Blaney that week, right? So if Blaney comes out and fires at Darlington and then fires at Worldwide Technology, things can change. But where I am the most concerned for a Blaney, and obviously the major advantage goes to Denny and Reddick here, is that Kansas through Charlotte jump.
So is the Kansas race a night race?
Kansas is the day. Bristol is night. It goes Bristol night, Kansas day, Vegas day, Charlotte day. So they're all day races here. And I still don't see that outside of, kind of Blaney. There really isn't a whole lot of speed at the 1.5 tracks, but he was fast at Bristol. He finished second to Ty Gibbs at Bristol. So, like, for, when you're Ryan Blaney, right? Third at Darlington in the spring, second at Bristol to Ty Gibbs. Worldwide Technology is like the track. Like, you have got to go out there and punch Denny in the mouth there, because when we come back around to the 1.5s, Blaney didn't seem all that impressive at Charlotte. Wasn't up there fighting for the lead, fighting for the win. I don't remember where he was at Vegas. 16th at Vegas. Las Vegas, Kansas, and then Kansas 24th. I don't know if that was on speed.
That car was struggling. It was
right.
like, even though they won the Phoenix race, they always
right.
win them.
And obviously Penske's come alive a little bit, but I don't know if they've come alive at like the true 1.5s, and definitely not compared to the Toyota. So, yeah, that's. I mean, if you are not Denny Hamlin, right? If you are Denny Hamlin or Tyler Reddick, those the weakest place for them is going to be those first 3 races, because after that, good luck catching them. Because there aren't too many tracks that the Toyotas aren't good at outside of a Talladega, which is obviously up in the air. So, kind of final thoughts here on that pod.
Daytona.
We're going to Daytona. They're talking a lot about the package of the bump, with there's some changes to the car that they put in. I mean, you're on the cut line. All right, you are Ryan Preece, right? How are you taking this race? You've got a deficit. Do you think you're going to play aggressive for the stage points, or are you going to try to see, just be conservative and hope the 97 gets wrecked out?
So the
Because I think
points differential is
pretty significant.
how many?
It isn't as much as right now. It is a 31 points difference.
Differential.
So Shane, if you're Shane, right, we're just honestly just survive. Coast in the back. Yeah. How many times have we seen you just surviving and you finish 18th and you're going to be good? You know what I mean?
To just do not die.
I think.
Do not be
so I want to point out, how successful the points change has been, because previously it would be a scenario which is people are going to do anything to try to win this race, no matter what, to try to get the win and in, right? Which, we know the criticisms of that. But now, instead of somebody instead of oh, I just got to win at the end, so we're going to all stay super patient, right? We're not going to do anything crazy. We're just going to survive, do best that we can, right? And then get to the end, and then we start pushing and shoving. Now we're going to see Preece, Keselowski, Chastain all going, I need stage points, and I need them. So I think we're going to see way more intensity early in these stages and in these races.
K is already mathematically done. Because he's 66 points back from Shane.
What's the most points you can get in a race? 55 to the winner, plus 10 per
Yeah.
stage. You get 75
75,
points.
Yeah.
You can get
And
75.
below it. Yeah.
So right now, if you finish last, you're guaranteed 1 point, right?
Yeah, so more or less mathematically.
I think Ross is technically out at 496
Ross is
back.
out. Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think, Brad and Priest, and here's the thing for when it comes to Shane, right? Is like they're
They're
teammates.
going to try and bully him.
They're teammates, and they're really good at these types of tracks. So I think it's going to crank the intensity up. It's going to force Shane to try to get a little bit more points than he might want to. But also at the end of the day, like, let's say Priest gets let's see, 55.55. Let's see if he gets max points. That puts him at 575 to Shane's. Let's say Shane doesn't get any points. 11 point difference, or a position difference, give or take, right? So as long as, even if Ryan Priest wins both stages, Shane has to stay within 11 positions of him. And I think that's totally doable. And the likelihood of Priest winning both stages is also without getting wrecked, you know what I mean? But that's the difference. And I think that's the storyline that's way more intriguing than, all right, we're going to run this race today and Riley Herbst wins and he's in the playoffs now. You know what I mean? Not nearly as fun in my opinion. So I'm super excited for that. I think that's going to lead to some really good battles. So yeah, poke in and keep up with that. I do have a fun announcement. I'm going to announce it officially, Dylan. But for those that are doing the first IWP Fantasy Football League, going into Daytona, this is how we are going to do team selection. Dilly, are you in the Fantasy Football League? I can't remember if you did it or not. You are? Okay. Have I told you how we're doing this?
We're all picking a driver, right?
So what's going to happen is we're all going to get randomly selected a driver. We're going to take some drivers out of the pool, right? We're all going to get a random driver selected for us by a randomizer. That'll probably be done on like Thursday or Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then going into the race, where your driver finishes determines your draft order. So if your driver wins, you're first. If your driver is the first of the guys that we all get picked, because I think there's like 12 or there's either 12 of us.
Is it by choice? So you choose where you
No,
go and then
no, you don't choose. It's gonna be a random assignment. So we're gonna take.
No, I wasn't talking about the driver choice.
Oh,
I was talking about. So say for example, somebody's driver is the highest placed out of like the 10 or 12, right?
yeah.
Instead of making them have the first pick, they choose their draft slot.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I don't think it's a bad idea. So you get it's like choosing your pit stall.
Yeah, choose your pit stall.
If everybody was assigned shit boxes, we should all do the truck race. We're just all of us rushing the truck race together. So yeah. So that is well, Iron Out. I'm gonna have a meet with JTB and then Blazer because it's technically his call. But either way, you're gonna have an advantage, right, to choose. What most people are gonna choose first, but I would imagine, yeah, you probably don't want to be 6th or 7th. But I don't hate that. I don't hate that. You get to choose your draft slot of what's available. Not a bad decision across the board. So, yeah, we're going to do that. That's going to be super exciting. Another thing, so some IWP stuff. So we are working out as we start the recruitment process. I had big aspirations for doing a Cup and an Xfinity League, and I think I need to continue to evaluate our numbers and where we're at in terms of my ability to run the league, 2 leagues in my theory, while working away from home as much as I am. So a couple things here. I think regardless, we're going to have a charter system. So we want to reward those that have been consistently part of our community that show they can race. So let's say we stay in Cup only this year. I think we would hand out about 30 Cup charters with 35 people that are allowed to race. Maybe it's 25 cup charters, somewhat a fair amount, right? If you're a cup charter, you're competing for a championship. If you're a cup charter, you're guaranteed entry into the race, every single race. You know what I mean? Then let's say we do let's dumb math. Let's do 25 charters, Dilly. Right? We'll go 25 charters. Well, that was what it was for Xfinity, but if there was 2 leagues, but let's say there's only Cup. So we'll do 25 charters. So 25 guys are going to be earning points consistently allowed every week. You are the guys that show up, you practice, you try, cool. Then we're going to allow, depending on the track, anywhere from 5 to 10 more slots in that race. So we can go a field up to 30 or 35, right? So whatever that is those the open drivers. So if you show up and there's a slot for you, cool. If you don't get a slot, then you have to qualify in. When we do our qualifying, the top 5 teams speeds of those open cars get to stay in. Versus if you don't make it. And you were not competing for points. You were here merely to compete, be a part of the league. Obviously, try to win and get good finishes, but prove that you can earn a charter, right? And I believe we have the right to assign a charter to somebody that proves, yep, you've proven that you can compete. So I think starting at 25 and allowing some of those fringe guys to come in and earn their charters by racing clean would be great. And then let's say Solomon here can't make it this week and he doesn't want to get a drop week of 0 points. Well, he can hire one of those open drivers to race his car for the week. And, they wouldn't be able to get max points. I think we would say something like 35 points max. So like if that driver went in and won the race completely, right? Let every stage and whatever. And then, then that's 35 points for that charter or something like that. That way, at least it's not a 0 on the board, right? That allows people to be a little bit more flexible. And it might even allow us to get away from drop weeks as a whole. Who knows, right? Or we keep drop weeks, but we allow you to make it so your drop weeks aren't that bad. And you can hire, and that gives another relationship to have with those, with those guys, and allows you to be flexible while allowing the league to maintain max participation. So, any thoughts on that, or... I think that system works well.
I think particularly with people having, I think the most number of races that we had this season was 30. Right? I think that's the most that we've had.
For the second season, yeah. First season, we were up in the 32s, 33s, I believe.
I can actually... There or thereabouts, right?
Yeah.
And obviously work commitments have caused people to not be here as much, and it could be a situation where we have potentially people sharing a charter effectively, that people that we know that cannot do an entire
that's the way I see it, right? Is if you feel like you can't commit, but again, I believe in, and we'll have to see how that works with the charter system, but I want to make sure that charter is assigned, not necessarily somebody who can make it to every single race, but, hey, I'm ready to race this week. I've earned my place in this league by being clean and consistent. And then if that ends up being expanded to 2 leagues over the time that we got, cool. But either way, I'm excited for what we've got. Continue to invite your friends and people that you've raced with. And also the last thing, I invited a guy to the Discord. His name's like King of Kings 75. I got reached out to by a couple a community of, they're like league owners. They all run leagues. They share information to like drivers that have kind of bad reputations, as well as cross promoting. Now, I'm really not looking at taking what we have and trying to do too much like collaboration and building. Not that I'm selfish or anything like that. I just don't want to overexert what we have. We have a fantastic thing going, but I do want to be a part of that and help. And I think where that can help, and what we all agreed on, which is those exhibition races. Like I told them, we have a very healthy pickup racing that's kind of run by you and JJ and Solomon and all those guys that are consistently wanting to run races. And if we kind of open those pickup races to these other communities that are like-minded as us, I think that could lead to some really fun racing nights for you guys. And then
for them as well,
right? And then if you find those guys and you enjoyed that other racing and you want to race in those leagues, that's a good way to find like a more vetted league that's got a little bit more experience and stuff like that. So I'm never going to be upset with you if you go and find race in other leagues. I was giving JJ Franken a hard time. He didn't know I was in one of the other leagues' Discord, so JJ joined the Discord and was like, he was like, "Hey, what's up, guys? I'm looking for another league," and I was like, "Oh, traitor," and he was just like, "Oh shit." But just know you don't hurt my feelings if go do what's best for you, what's fun for you. Hopefully, our Cup Series is giving you a good time and you feel welcome here. But, check those things out. So there'll be some cross promotion and things like that for pickup cups and exhibition races, maybe a league on league battle. We talked about that before, Dilly. Like taking our best six against another league's best six and a couple. So like doing like a tri wizard tournament of NASCAR racing across the league. So um, you could be Cedric Diggory, and we'll right hook you into the wall. Voldemort killed him.
Or just tell everyone that they're doing a road course, and therefore I'll be in the top
Right,
six, right?
right. I think it'd be sick. I think you'd be sick. You just do all four types of tracks and see who can be the winner. I think we would. I genuinely believe we'd smoke anybody. I would love to see a field like that. But if you're interested in those things or you have ideas, now is the time to hit me up as we are starting our planning process and recruiting process. So just want to end up with a little bit of IWP news. We are still going. Don't worry about me traveling. We are all on top of everything behind the scenes. Announcements will be made soon regarding team sign up, charter assignment, and all those things. So,
And silly season 2.0.
oh, there will be silly season 2.0. There will be. Nobody.
Just season 1.0.
I can't wait to see the recruit. And things are going to change now, Now the game's on PC. Like, I got a wheel. Maybe I'm a little bit more of a free agent than I was in the past. So, who knows? But either way, that is it for this week's episode of the Intentional Work Pod. Dilly, thanks for filling in for my loser fellow host who could not make it tonight. No, they're all busy with fatherly duties and other in real life needs, but good to talk with you.
It's not like it's 1:51 a.m. here.
Hey, listen, if they keep this up, we're gonna have to do the pod in the same room as we are gonna be hanging out in a month. So,
and do you know what race is on that night? Kansas.
Oh, it'll be Kansas. Nice. So we're gonna watch the football game and Kansas.
Yeah. But no, we're gonna be in some sort of place in London, so we're not gonna be able to watch a race.
We will be able to watch the race
on our phone.
Yeah, we're watching on the phone. I have an iPad. So we'll watch it on the iPad. So, all right, guys. Thanks for popping by. We will see you next time.